All right, Shalom. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Also want to give double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, and elders, a great millstone. Blessings and salutations unto the elect of Yasharahla, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Akim out there enduring this truth across the four corners of the earth in truth and sincerity through the spirit of Yahweh, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, and the men and women that follow. Those who might look like the other nation but are of the nation of Israel and their father's side by blood. And wanted to get into a quick lesson, dealing with the point being in verse 17. But I'm going to start at about verse 11 and just getting into, conduct and conversation, carrying ourselves a certain way. And, as I was thinking about verse 17, which I'll read that first, matter of fact. This is 1 Peter 2:17. It says, honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear the Most High, and honor the king. And I know when I first read it, I was just like, man, that's just like, it simplifies how to carry yourself in a good conduct. I often, gravitate towards quotes and things. And, even more, of course, there's a lot of quotables in the Bible, Is there such thing as a favorite precept, But this is definitely added to that favorite precept list, And like even when you read it in NLT, it says, respect everyone and love your Christian brothers and sisters, And as we know, it's speaking of Israelites, that's where it goes into the brotherhood, It says, fear the Most High and respect the King. And it's like, so when it goes into honoring men, the scriptures tell us what? All right. Here, I'm going to go over here. Oh, yeah, it popped up on a daily verse. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta get into that. But where we at? I believe it's Romans. Dang, I was just, let's try 6. Maybe it's not 6. I might just search it if it's not at the end of this one. Oh, yeah, I definitely know it ain't 8. Salakia. The 12. It's not even coming up. Let me see if at all possible. This is killing me. It's not even coming up. Oh, let me see. Be at peace, men. I think we're going to strike gold here. Yep, Romans 16. It's still, no, this is, I don't know what's going on. Man, this is kind of, let me just go to 12. See, it's right here. See, I should have went off the spirit. Salakia for that. This is Romans 12:18. It says, we'll go to 17. It says, recompense to no man evil for evil, provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Oh, I put peaceable, peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. So even when it comes down, you might have a co-worker that's of another nation and, of course you only take so much, you know, but it's not all about wrath. It's not all about vengeance. It's not all about getting your lick back. You know, we already through the spirit, we ready to get up out of here. So, and I'm speaking on the conduct, because you could, you know, feed into that flesh, all right, and get yourself caught up in a bad situation. You know, so if at all possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. You know what I'm saying? So keep things cool, calm, and collective in a sense. You know, you want to just be rash, and that's part of being in this truth, having wisdom. You know, is growing out of that. Oh, I'm angry, I'm just gonna turn up on everyone. You know, nah, this truth teaches you, because as I'm reading, you know, 2 Peter's 17, or the 1 Peter's 2:17, I'm understanding how the Lord operated, you know, which at the end of the day, he never wanted the gospel to look bad. They're going to talk how they talk, but let us not give them a reason, you know. And I always think of when he spoke about render unto Caesar the things that are unto Caesar. You know, hey, if they want us to pay tribute, hey, forget it. Pay tribute, you know. You don't see any of us out here avoiding, you know, paying our taxes. You know, we render unto Caesar. Boom, file our taxes, take what you take, complain about it, keep moving on, you know. All right, so going back into it, it says honor all men. It says love the brotherhood. Yeah. A couple precepts pop up. I'm thinking of Hebrews 13, of course. You got Hebrews 13:1. It says, let brotherly love continue. You know, let's see what that love it says in there. Let's see what the NLT keep on loving each other as brothers and sisters. That brotherly love. Philadelphia, love of brothers and sisters, brotherly love. In the New Testament, the love with Christians, aka Israelites, cherish for each other as brethren. Loving brother, sister, up in Israel. There you go, up in Israelite, you know. And that's the end of the day. It can't be the love of the world, you know, because the love of the world will betray you in a sense, you know, like if you need advice, not saying you can't go to anyone in the world, but when you need to vent, when you sighing and crying, you know, the world can't really help you. Because the solution is in the scripture. The solution is be continually before godly men. You know, they're gonna give you that good advice that you need. You know, I personally know someone, and she says, you know, I just love how you and the brothers, that y'all have something to go to, you know, when y'all down and out, and pretty much. You know, she loves the fact that we have each other through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, man. You know? And, hey, me personally, I've felt that and dealt with that firsthand. I've been down and out. I've been asking. The other day, I was just sick. I'm kind of getting my voice back now. The other day, I was just sick. And that's the thing. Like, the answers are in the scriptures. I asked the Akim. I asked, you know, certain chat groups, could they send up prayers, because I was under the weather heavy, you know, and I did not want to call into work, you know. I did not want to call into work, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking of the scriptures, you know, it says a righteous man prayeth availeth much. And I asked the Akim, you know, I literally thought of that scripture, and I'm like, hey, the Akim going to have to help me with this one. You know, so I sent them my prayers, and I asked Akim to pray for me as well. And shoot, within 12 hours, I was able to really, I had my voice back just a little bit more. The headache was gone. The congestion kind of had, you know, went down a little bit. My nose wasn't as stuffed, and I was able to actually move around a little bit. Body wasn't sore as much, but the whole purpose was for me not to have to call in. And it's crazy because the Lord allowed me to get enough rest. I woke up in enough time to do what I needed to do before I had to go to work, you know. So it was just like, okay, hey, the water YAHAWASHI, you know, and I depended on the Akim. You know what I'm saying? Hey, YAHAWASHI. All right, let's see. 26 maybe. Yeah. This is the YAHAWASHI. I'm not going to read it all. This is Matthew 26 and 36. It says, Then cometh YAHAWASHI with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and said unto the disciples, Sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then said he unto them, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And I'll just, leave it there. But he took them with him as he was going to pray to the Heavenly Father that, in a heavy time and understanding what was about to go down, he fell weak and he was leaning on his brothers. And that's the thing. Sometimes you just got to go through things on your own, man. I personally went through some things a few years back, and one of the brothers, he was like, yeah, you made it out that cave, and I actually used that, all right, as a metaphor, I guess you can say, at certain things, It's like coming out of a cave. You're in a dark place, and you see the light, but you still got to make it to the light. So you're feeling around, you're tripping over stuff, you're getting cut, you're bleeding, you're hot, you're sweating, you're cold, whatever the case is. But once you make it out, you made it out. There wasn't nobody that gave you a rope. Nobody sent you a flashlight. You had to get yourself out of there, and that builds your confidence. All right, that builds your faith. Ultimately, YAHAWASHI is with us. And he puts us through things. He chastises us, But when you're going through things, when things get heavy, let's see what that word heavy says, man. Let's see what this word heavy. Let me see. It says from derivative of deo, to be troubled, great distress, or anguish, depressed, man. This is the strongest of the 3 Greek words in the New Testament for depression. Yeah. So the Lord started to get depressed, over what was going down. And that can happen, and it's true. You got your woe is me days, man, but we gotta keep pushing forward, as the Lord did. We might pray to the Lord that he takes certain cups away from us, that we ain't gotta, go through certain things, or while we even in something, that we can come out, or we got a thorn in our flesh as Paul did, but the Lord knows what it takes for us to make it through, but he know that it won't break us. So some things we just gotta endure, but 2 is better than 1. You got the Akim there. Send up prayers for you, or somebody to go and counsel with and make sure you ain't tripping. Somebody that can reprove you. That's also important. Brothers reprove each other. That's what we here for. It's not to hurt you, but it's only to help you. If you accept it, if you accept it. And now if you have a brother who's doing it in a quote-unquote bully fashion, meaning like he being wicked with it, the Lord will end up sifting his ass out, you know. But all in all, if brothers is, if we say, hey, brother, you gotta work on that doubt. Like, that shouldn't hurt you. Man, I'm faithful. Faithful of a mustard seed. Yeah, okay, but I don't see it. You know, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So let's get better. Let's get stronger. Let's keep moving forward. All right. So going back into the Peters. So you gotta fear the Most High. You know, you already know what comes in mind. Straight to the point with it, Ecclesiastes 12. All right. Actually, this is one, but there's another one as well. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of men. All right. Now that fear is what? Giving him that reverence, that respect, as well as, you know, fearing what he can do to you, man. You know, he deserves it. All right. Phobio, to put to flight by terrifying, to put to flight, free, be afraid, to be struck with fear, to be seized with alarm, of those startled by strange sights or occurrences. Yeah, because the Lord causes those things, you know. Fear, be afraid, fear, hesitate to do something, to reverence, venerate, to treat with deference or reverential obedience. And the Lord receives both, man. All right? Because he's omnipotent. He's the Most High. Okay? It said, through the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. Why? Because by them hearing what he's able to do and will do, that's fear. That'll cause you to straighten up your ass. Hey, when you was a child, get in trouble at school, I'm calling your parents. You already know. You already know when this get home, it ain't going to be pretty. There's going to be some form of consequence, man. It was the same with the Most High. You know, and that's why it's important to conduct ourselves occasionally, you know, in the sense of being in this gospel. All right? Like, hey, the brothers always say when we first got into this, you cussing everybody out. You know, everybody walking by, everybody can get it, you know, but over time you grow and you mature. That's a beautiful word. All right? You mature in this thing, you know, but the only way to mature is to grow. Let's see what mature is. It says, encourage separation of plants, cause to ripen. Exactly. Bring to maturity. Meaning what? When a fruit isn't ripe, you know, it can't be used. It can't be eaten. All right. It's not ready to be eaten. You're not going to get the full benefits of it. Okay. It says ripe, timely, early, ripeness. The root of probably the same of manis, meaning good. Come to a state of ripeness. Become ripe or perfect. Call law, YAHAWASHI. Now it brought in the word perfect, right? Actually, I'm going to get over here because it might have an NLT with it. So let's look into Hebrews, the 6th chapter. And it says, therefore, leaving the principles of the Salakia. Oh, yep. Therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Hamashiach, let us go on unto perfection, right? Yep, it says perfection, the state of the more intelligent, moral, and spiritual perfection. I know in my sword, when I read it in my sword, it says mature, you know, unless it's the previous chapter that has that part. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't see it in here. I know that's got to be the verse for sure. You know, but nonetheless, like I said, so when you have a fruit and that fruit is becoming ripe, it's perfect, it's complete, it's ready, it's whole. You know, let me see. Yeah, see, when you go to 5 and 14, it says, but strong meat belongeth to them that are of a full age. That could be it. Maybe it's that. Let me see, full age. Maybe that's. But even like within this analogy, it's speaking about milk and it's speaking about meat. You know, and it's speaking about skillful levels and it's also speaking about experience. You know, and so we went through an experience of being on the highways and dealing with people. You know, it says perfect in here. You know, but it doesn't. I doesn't see the mature. But in my sword, you know, the precept for it, it says mature. You know, in a couple places, if I'm not mistaken. You know, but nonetheless, you know, just continuing on. That's you grow to be ripened. You grow to be mature. All right, and it comes by experience. It comes by fearing the Most High. Because what does it say? My going crazy. It's a lot. It should be in the first chapter. Yep. Proverbs 1 and 7 says, for the fear of the Lord Yahawah is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Okay. Go down to 2 and 5. Then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of the Most High. You know. Why? Because you're going to understand when you're dealing with the Lord, you want to deal with him accordingly. You know, I think that's the word I was looking for earlier. And I think I said occasionally. I meant to say accordingly. Lock it. Even like being under the weather, you have herbs and things, but what? You pray to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. All right, in the sense of that fear, in the sense of that reverence, in the sense of that respect, that he allows those herbs and those tinctures and elixirs and whatever the case is to do the job that they're meant to do. All right. So continuing on, back in Peter's. This is 2 Peter 2 and 17 at the end of it. It says, honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear the Most High, and honor the king. You know, and that's whoever is in rulership. All right, like us being in this society, you know, we serve YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI under the state of this society in a sense, you know. It's not like we're going to ride without our seatbelts because we serve the Most High. You know, we get to ride past and throw shit at the cops, you know, throwing eggs at their car because we, like, nah. Like I said, having a good conduct, that this gospel cannot be blamed, man. You know, we're supposed to be different from the world. The world love its own. All right, that's why the world receive benefits of the world, and we don't for the most part. You know. But even within this, you know, Because when we go up to 13, right, well, I'll go to 11 where we was going to start. It says, 1 Peter 2:11, it says, Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul, as the scripture said back in Matthew 26. That's when he told them when they were sleeping. The spirit is willing, but this flesh is weak. This flesh constantly wants to go off and do the opposite that your spirit wants to do. Period. At the end of the day, that's what it wants to do. The opposite of what your spirit wants to do, man. And that's why it's a constant battle. All right. It says having your conversations, which mean your conduct, you know, the way you carry yourself, honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, whoever doesn't believe in this thing, at the end of the day, you know, whoever don't believe in this, you know, and they want to speak evil of us, right? They may by your good works, which they shall behold, glorify the Most High in the day of visitation. So in the sense of going back to where it says, honor all men, all right, going into verse 17, showing them that respect. And that actually happened to me. I got into it with my supervisor and I was right, all right. And, you know, and I could have just went, blew up on him, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I don't need that dub in a sense. You know, and since then he's kind of cooled down. But if I wanted to take vengeance for myself and be like, yeah, I'm right, I'm about to let him know. Who's to know how that could have made him react? And then now he's all watching me closely and watching my every move and just waiting for me to mess up so he can write me up and get me out of that type of shit happens in this world, man. You know? But guess what? We on the bottom. All right? We on the bottom. We're going to take L's. We're going to be blamed for things that we didn't do and looked at kind of crazy for, you know, what we are, who we are, whatever to give us. So what? You know? So what? All right. So going back and up and going into 13, it says, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. All right. Now, hey, the times that we're in and coming into where they're pretty much getting rid of this society, this system that they have, and they're pretty much planning to reboot it, all right, into the NWO and having a chip in your hand or in your forehead causing you to buy or sell, all right, to operate in this society, okay, that's what they're planning on doing. So once they come about and they say that that's mandatory, just as they did during 2020, during the CVID situation, and they was mandatory, they was taking certain liberties away and restricting people from doing certain things if they didn't get that jab in their arm, man, or getting all the extra jabs that came with it. Put your mask on, stay 6 feet, stay in the house, don't go to work, so on and so forth, you know? So once they come, we follow YAHAWASHI. Now, a good example of this, all right, is, I'm going to get it. I wish I knew exactly where it was. Nope, that's the vision. Let me see. Dang, how did he word that? Let me see. I'll just type in fire. No, it's a lot of precepts on fire. 2 Kings, Chronicles, Songs, Proverbs, Isaiah, Jeremiah. Where you at, Daniel? Where you at? Where you at? Yep, there we go. Yeah, it's in, okay, it was in chapter 3. I just want to get their response. So pretty much, of course, if you read in the story, you got 3 Hebrews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which was their Babylonian names that were given unto them. There was a decree that went out from the king, from Nebuchadnezzar. Hey, whenever y'all hear this song, you pretty much bow down to the statue. Well, that's serving another god, so they like, nah, we good. We ain't doing it. So you had some people that seen them not bowing down to it, and they went and told the king. And then, so whoever didn't bow down to the statue or keep the king's commandment will be thrown into the fire, right? So Daniel's 3:16, it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So they like, look, we ain't even got to think hard on this answer, but we ain't going to bow down to your little statues and your gods. So, hey, if it's out of the Lord's will, he'll deliver us out of this situation. And if not, then we going down with our dignity, man. And call YAHAWASHI, you know what I'm saying? So that's a situation where a king put out a decree that would have caused him to pretty much worship another god. And they like, we'd rather be deleted. We'd rather choose death than serve your power, man. And through the spirit, if the Lord willing, we can have that same mindset. We'd rather choose death than take that shit. All right? Because that's what it's going to come down to, man. That's the end all be all. Okay? All right, so continuing reading down. Now my voice is starting to, less like the more I'm talking, the more it goes. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. It says at verse 15, it says, for so is the will, 1 Peter 2:15, for so is the will of the Most High, that with well-doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. Yeah, just sometimes take them, punches on the cheek. You roll with those punches. You know what I'm saying? Look like you're getting hit a little bit, like you're getting damaged, but you all right. For the sake of the gospel. All right. Just like the Lord, he could have called down 12 legions of angels. But he had to tell, I forgot to know if it was Pilate or the other guy, be like, hey, you ain't doing this. The Lord's doing it. You couldn't get me. My Father in heaven wouldn't allow it. So calm down, But he could have been like, oh, I use spiritual power and do this. Hey, but he kept everything cool. He kept everything in order. That's the right word. He kept everything in order, man, because it wasn't of his will. It was of YAHAWASHI. It was of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh's will. It says, as free and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of the Most High. Now, of course, back in these times, you had Israelite foreigners, Israelites who was coming out of their lifestyle of being a Gentile and practicing some of their customs, but they heard this word and they started believing, So he was giving them game, putting them on, showing them how to conduct themselves, man, as we ought to in these days, accordingly, So nonetheless, Lord willing, you was edified, and Lord willing, be allowed to endure to the end, just going into having a good conduct about yourself while we walk this walk, man. While we walk this walk through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, And once again, as a lot of brothers been saying, and we in some beautiful times, man. Got the Passat coming up in a couple of days, and you got to cross our T's and dot our I's through the spirit. So once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH, Shalom.